Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the season finale. Yes, another season has come to an end. Super Bowl Sunday has passed, and here we are at last celebrating the end of another successful season. But before we jump into the antics, the unfortunate news: a former San Diego Charger, that's right, San Diego Charger,
I'll allow
and
it.
yep, allow it, please. And Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receiver Vincent Jackson was found dead in his hotel room yesterday or Monday, I guess, depending on when you're listening to this. Very, very sad in the Tampa community. As a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he gave us 5 great years of not only being a man on the field, tutoring and really mentoring Mike Evans to the player that he is now, but also out of the 5 years, 4 of those years, he was man of the year. So definitely condolences to him and his family. Hopefully we get full news of what happened, but definitely rest in peace to Vincent Jackson. Now that we have paid that respect to the man as he well deserved, another thing happened this week, Johnny.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt said, "Big guys, I don't want to be here anymore. Do you want me here? You don't want me here? Perfect. Let me go."
Well,
And that's kind of what happened.
JJ, I'm gonna let you go right now.
I'm going to let you go right now. Releasing J.J. Watt just continues the saga for Houston sports. I mean, I don't know what the heck is going on. The succubus must be pleased.
Shout out to you, Lady Tree.
You know, because
you freaking love that video because how much truth?
Because it's all kind of coming out now. It's like everything in Houston is falling apart, including my Rockets, which I won't talk about. But everything is falling apart. Only thing that hasn't happened is Deshaun Watson hasn't been granted his release. It's so crazy. They're holding on for dear life, and they're like, "Listen, we want you here. We'll let JJ go. We'll let JJ go, even though JJ is still a great player."
Yeah, but he's in the final year of his contract, and I don't think their plan was to resign him.
He's aging, and at this point, obviously you would want to get something for him, but at the end of the day,
for nothing though. That's such a Houston move, though.
It is. It's not like they get 3 first-round picks, second-round pick swaps or anything like that. James Harden, but they release an aging veteran for nothing, and now
he's the succubus right now, folks.
Yeah. And now they have a chance to. Now he has a chance to sign wherever he wants to go, and of course,
the speculation.
Oh my God! I've heard the Packers. He might do a going home. Of course, my Bucks now in the Browns.
Steelers.
DeAndre Hopkins wants him to come to Arizona. Of course, fans online are like, "Please come to the Jets." Which we know for sure that
He's
ain't
not
happening.
Going there. No.
But if I'm JJ, and you let me know what you think. If I'm JJ, no matter where I go, I'm going somewhere where my offense can score. Like, I want to be somewhere where I know my offense is going to be able to put up points.
Arizona can do that. Cleveland can do that. Tampa can do that.
And
of course, Green Bay can absolutely do that.
Right. So if it's me, I'm not looking at any other teams but those 5. I mean, unless somehow, Seattle can free up some money.
See, I don't think their defense is as bad as it seems. Their secondary is a problem. I don't know about their front line. You could arguably make the case about the 49ers.
I was going to say the same thing, but again, that quarterback play, like, can Jimmy stay healthy?
Yeah, but
and
last season was like
anomaly. It was really bad.
It was an anomaly. Like we haven't seen a season like that in football in a long time.
In a COVID year.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. And I mean that kind of goes into the year in review right there. It's like a COVID year of sports.
Let's start off in the AFC South. I mean, we're talking about the Texans. The Texans, everything started off where someone's just looking up ahead and all you hear is iceberg dead ahead.
Dead ahead. Oh
and
my
they
goodness.
hit that iceberg, aka that succubus that Doc was talking about, and it has only gotten progressively worse with every year that passed.
I can agree with that. And of course, we thought that things might have gotten better midway when they fired their head coach, Bill O'Brien. But it was just nothing changing. They didn't have the weapons.
It wasn't just Bill O'Brien. And we keep talking about this. Like, yes, Bill O'Brien needs to get fired. Absolutely.
Right.
He should have never. No man should have all that power.
Wow.
That's speaking to him, man. That's speaking to him.
No, absolutely.
But
I don't know.
It wasn't just him. Like he put the team in a unmentionable situation that's going to hurt them for the next few seasons. Absolutely. But the front office has just as much to blame about all this. And even with him leaving, they're still doing the same old Texans thing. And we're supposed to act like everything was just Bill O'Brien. No, this was a cornucopia of muck-ups.
I feel like the Texans kind of represent, not the worst of the AFC South, because obviously the Jaguars have that grasp.
But that was more purposely done, though.
I don't know. I don't think they could have won those games. See, the Texans had chances. Their defense couldn't score. Their offense couldn't do anything, get that vibe and clicking, because they traded their best asset away for, a bag of peanut butter brittle, I guess. I won't even say M&Ms or Skittles.
We keep talking about master classes and things. Jacksonville was the master class of tanking.
It was really, really bad.
They said, we ain't winning no more, man.
So, I mean, but the only reason why I say that is because although the Colts and the Titans went to the playoffs, their seasons just weren't as successful as they should have. Like what we saw Derrick Henry do, what we saw Phillip Rivers do, what we saw these guys do was amazing. And in reality, it really, really should have been better than it was.
Yes.
But I don't know. I
feel like we're speaking about the two teams that made it to the playoffs. Now the Colts need a quarterback.
Well, I don't know, because they still have Jacoby Brissett, or access to Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, there are some quarterbacks that are going to be out there and available, but Jacoby Brissett under Phillip Rivers.
There were rumors about, of course, just rumors about them trying to get the talents of a Matty Ice.
But the Falcons said they're not trading Ice,
unless
they're trying to drive up. The price, of course.
Exactly.
But then again, I heard rumors of freaking people trying to get Andrew Luck to come out of retirement. So, which I said,
he's not.
I did. Well, see, I did say 2 years ago that I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Luck came back, but he went to New England.
Yes, you did say that.
I definitely said that. But Indianapolis is an interesting team. I like what their linebacker had to say. He said, "Listen, if you're coming to play for this Colts defense, be prepared to work. We don't like anybody that doesn't like to tackle and run to the football. So if you ain't trying to run to the football, don't even come here." But I mean, let's stay in the AFC. I mean, I guess since we mentioned the Patriots,
let's hit the AFC East.
Yeah, so that was disappointing. Jets did Jet things, losing games that they should have won, and
Jets lost the Tink Bowl.
Yeah, which is so crazy. Patriots obviously digressed due to, in my opinion,
this is the type of year I think they should have had. I think if they made it to the playoffs, I don't think it would have did any good for them to make the
Can
playoffs.
I be honest with you? I think they made a mistake, and I'm not trying to play them out. But they should not have brought Cam in. They should have went with their original plan to ride with Nate. Is it Nate Stidham? Is it Nate? I can't even think of his first name. I know it's Stidham. But they should have rode with Stidham. It's Jarrett Stidham, excuse me.
Yeah.
They should have rode. I was like, Nate Sudfeld, I think I was thinking of.
Yeah, Sudfeld.
Jarrett Stidham. They should have rode with him. You know, he's been in the system for a year, I believe, or 2 years. It's like, should have rolled with him and let him take his bumps and bruises. But they brought in Cam, and I just felt like that was a bad choice. Like, I really thought that Stidham was going to be the guy that shocks. But then when he came in and threw like 2 or 3 picks that one game, it was like, you have to go back to Cam, even though, Cam is just about finished, honestly.
Well, about at the same length as Stidham at this point, but Stidham is younger and doesn't have as much experience as
Right. So those are disappointing. And now
speaking
the Patriots are probably gonna.
The Dolphins, who had a surprising season, they don't know what they want to do at the quarterback position.
Well, you're going to hear me say this, and I said this earlier, and probably say this a lot, but Miami is screwing Miami.
Wow, this is going to be a theme, folks, today.
Yeah,
this is good.
But I mean, I'm really happy with the coach, what he's doing, Flores. He's really got them believing and playing. He's been fighting for them, both metaphorically and physically. And I'm happy with that. And of course, Bills Mafia. I mean, they played well.
They took a huge step forward this year.
They did. It's very unfortunate that you have to go through the Chiefs at this particular time, this rain.
Absolute buzzsaw.
Yeah, which this could be that moment, where Tampa and the Raiders, they figured out how to, put a damper on Mahomes, like try and contain him.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders played the type of game that the Bucs played.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it was 2 different schemes. So it's like, if you look at those 2 games and say, hey, how can we stop this team? It's like, honestly, Andy's too smart for this. So I really believe that Andy is going to understand and figure out how to beat those particular defenses. But the Bills,
the Chiefs actually need.
Well, hold on, I don't want to go with the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't want to start with the Chiefs. I was going to say, I feel like the Bills are going to figure it out, because right now that's the team to beat. Yes. It's the Bills, it's the Titans, it's the Ravens. I don't know what the Steelers are going to look like, but the Bills, the Bills are right there. We've seen the quarterback take a step forward, so hopefully they're able to kind of continue. They're going to
still have Stephon Diggs on the team too, and those two have made quite the great relationship between the two of them as well too. Like, they both want to win.
Exactly. So since we mentioned Steelers and the Ravens, let's go to the AFC North. The Bengals, who obviously lost Joe Burrows. They're in a rebuild. They don't know what's up or down. They are really just there right now in Ohio, trying to figure out what the heck.
Team?
Yeah, like, they still have the, ghost of Marvin Lewis kind of, over them, and they're trying to figure things out. So we're going to give them a pass for the next probably 5 years.
I'll say 7.
Ooh. Dang, I wasn't gonna go that far, but 7. I get a Joe Burrow. You think? Well, hopefully Joe Burrow doesn't turn into Carson Palmer. That's the only thing I can hope.
That's the problem that I'm seeing.
Yeah, but
Cleveland,
the Browns. Yeah, the Browns obviously are in that swing. They made a quiet run to 11-5.
Which is
but the reason why it was quiet was because
so much this
year. Which is the reason why they were quiet was because OBJ wasn't there.
That's hilarious.
Making all kinds of noise.
That's
and
hilarious.
dancing and singing and doing all his antics. It was perfect for Baker Mayfield, who was able to spread the ball around. They ran the football well, and they played good defense. But when Odell comes back,
I will say this.
What do they do?
I will say this as far as the AFC North. I think the Browns have the best run game in that division.
Oh, without question. The Ravens, although they have Lamar and J.K. Dobbins is coming along very, very well, the Browns want to punch if they can keep those two guys together.
Which I think
I don't know. I don't know how long of a contract Kareem Hunt has. I don't think they're ever letting Chubb go ever. But I don't know how long Hunt's contract is. But yeah, that's the best running core. I would say it's top 5 in the whole league, if not number 3.
We're gonna put a pin on that comment because I want to know what your number 2 and number 1 is in a moment. But let's talk Ravens.
Lamar's Lamar. I don't know if they're gonna have to figure out their passing attack.
Yes.
They're gonna have to figure it out. I don't know what it is that they're trying to do. Like I understand the whole option thing, but eventually he's gonna have to throw the football, which he's very capable of. It's almost like, hey, we drafted him to play quarterback, but we're gonna fool him into believing he's a quarterback, but he's really a running back. You know what I'm saying? You see, like, because that's what they're kind of doing with him. Like, it's like, yes, he passes the ball at some points, but it's like, this is mostly running the football.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, he can actually throw. So it's like, I could see if he was some bum on the street, throwing up a peace sign to, receivers who burnt him in the past. But no, he's a good quarterback who can actually sit back there and throw the football. So they just got to bring in playmakers or design a new scheme.
I will say this real quickly, and this is something else that I didn't know. Hilarious. The Browns was the only playoff team to have a negative in point differential this season. Everyone else scored more points than opposition when you total up all the points that they scored versus what their opponents scored.
Well, the Steelers, which is the last team, number 1, they lost Marquise Pouncey, which is really huge for them.
It's going to be a big hole.
I mean, they may lose Juju.
They're going to lose.
I know they're not going to sign him back for big money because that's not what they do. James Conner is not the answer.
Is not who they thought he was.
Yeah, like he is not the answer, and I know they're missing
a team that's 2 years away from getting back to prominence.
And unfortunately, that's gonna be more of a 5-year because Ben's not staying past 2 years, so they're gonna have to draft his replacement and get him up to speed. So this might be a 3 to 5 year thing where the defense is going to keep them in, but unless they can get a veteran in there after Ben is gone, it's going to be pretty tough for them.
Absolutely.
But they do have, they did pick up, the young kid out of, Washington, Haskins. Maybe he can, fully learn, I guess. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't have that much faith in the Steelers. If you don't believe me, ask your agent. He'll give you all the details about that.
Yikes. And then lastly, the AFC West, which we talked about the Chiefs, who's, 14-2, really, really good, came up against a Bucs team that just, was too good.
A Bucks team that was too sweet.
Too sweet. But they just couldn't get it done. 14-2, really dominant, undefeated on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they really, really play well. One of those losses coming from the aforementioned Raiders, who went 8-8, Gruden Grinders. I don't know what Jay Ritty's Raiders need to do.
They need to get better at home.
Well, that goes without saying. But this is a new home, so maybe it's because it's so new, it doesn't feel like a home game.
Like, remember how I said last week, we must protect this house? The Raiders are not protecting that house.
Well, I'll tell you, the Bucks used to lose a lot of home games as well, so I know how that is, and I can't remember exactly all the teams that they played at home.
What hurt the Raiders the most was because John Gruden likes to play a lot of power football.
He does.
And that power football was non-existent for like the second half of the season.
I can agree with that. They stopped running them.
Josh Jacobs, even when he was in the game, wasn't really making as much of an impact.
They weren't running them as much either,
Their defense. I don't even know what defense would be out there most of the time.
Yeah,
they would just absolutely blow coverage all the time.
So, I mean, honestly, that's just one of those things that they're going to have to do. It's going to come down to coaches. It's going to come down to grit.
That's what you did there.
But talking about grit, a team that fired their coach, I kind of knew that they would. I thought they might give him an extra year.
Yeah, one more year would have been fine, but I understand why they had to do it, though. They wanted to try to bring in someone that could, push this particular quarterback who won a particular award. But we'll get there in a minute, in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could have a bounce back. They could be number 2 in this division, and still make the playoffs next year. I think they're that talented.
So here's the issue that I have with the hiring. It has nothing to do with Brandon Staley, who is Brandon Staley, who is a new coach of the No Charges No. They're trying to. It's almost like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Like, I get it. Everybody wants their McVay, which I'm really happy that the young guys are getting the calls, but not everybody is going to be able to do that.
Yes.
Not everybody's going to be able to say, hey, here's this coach. He's under 40. Yes, he's had some success. And, I'm against kicking the tire on all those old coaches, Marvin Lewis and Jeff Fisher. I don't want, Jim Fossil coming out of nowhere getting a job. You know what I'm saying? So even Tom Coughlin, I don't want him coming out of retirement getting a job.
Yeah, he's not coming back out.
But but those are the guys that get the job. Wade Phillips, I don't want that.
But Wade Phillips is a much better DC than he was a head coach, though.
And he still is a better DC than he is a head coach. He just was on the Cowboys. How about the Cowboys? But yeah, I mean, I feel like the Chargers are trying to strike. They're like, listen, we want to emulate what our crosstown Rams have done, hiring a young coach, pairing him with a young quarterback, and hoping that they can get success. But I had to wait and see what happens. And I guess, lastly, Broncos.
I don't know what's going on with the Broncos, to be honest with you. I have no clue.
They need to figure out, I guess, who their quarterback is. The Broncos should be putting in every asset they have to try and get Deshaun Watson. Every asset. They must just throw it all at him because they need him.
I will agree with you. I actually agree with you. If any
this team is
desperately, they haven't had a good quarterback since Peyton.
Yeah, once Peyton left, that was it.
And that was before his bad last season that they won the Super Bowl.
Right. And I mean, I hate it because I really don't want to play Drew Lock out. He hasn't had too many years to really play. Their offensive line isn't the greatest. Their running game isn't great. But I mean, if Deshaun Watson is out there and you could potentially bring him in, and maybe the Texans say, "Hey, send us Drew Lock. At least we'll have a quarterback." You got to go with it. You know what I mean? But that's the AFC. Let's take a quick break, and we're gonna come back and talk about the NFC right after this.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna talk the NFC conference. Doc, let's talk about the infamous NFC East.
Them boys, trash. Let's start at the bottom. So the Eagles, and this and listen.
Wait.
As bad as he is, oh my God, he's so bad. I mean, hold on, folks, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh my God, the Eagles. They were just at the Super Bowl, even though it was with folk.
They won the Super Bowl.
They did. They were just there
3 years ago.
Oh my God, they were just there. But Carson Wentz still would be an upgrade over Drew Lock. So if the Broncos are out there, he still would be an upgrade over Drew Lock if he can stay healthy. But the Eagles are in disarray, dismay, just everything. It's really looking bad. I mean, now they're talking about trading Zach Ertz. I mean, this is really, really rough. I think the only thing that's going to be good coming out of the Eagles is that LaShawn McCoy, 2-time Super Bowl winner, is going to come back and retire as an Eagle. I think that's the only thing good that's going to happen to them this offseason.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Season.
We talked about the Steelers being a 3 to 5 year. I'm going to put the Eagles in that same boat as well too.
I mean, can Jalen Hurts really, can he do this? That's a question.
If the receivers are healthy, if Miles Sanders decide not to screw over Doc for fantasy for next year, I mean,
that's what he's getting, the peace sign. He's getting the peace sign. I won't be drafting him again.
Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
We them boys.
We them cornucopia of mess, drama, pain, anguish, hypocrisy, being obsolete.
I mean, they have a lot of questions. They have a lot of questions to answer.
And I feel like I'm going to be correct about the Dak situation. And I don't want to be right about it, but I think
that they're going to let him walk. And then he's going to go to the Giants and be with the clapper. That's my part.
No, I don't think he's going to go to the Giants. I think Daniel Jones is fine.
I like Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones, and we're going to get there. But I think the clapper would love to have Dak back. The Dak attack and the clapper are back in the same building, baby.
Anywho, their defense is absolutely...
What the heck happened to their defense? Like, their defense wasn't this bad under...
got to them. They got egos. And it was detrimental to the team. I mean, we keep talking about players getting suspended for, conduct detrimental to the team. That was that whole defense this year.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Like, nobody looked like they were even trying to earn money, unless they were secretly trying to tank, which didn't look like. They looked like they were actually playing.
No, just like the Cowboys fan base. And I'm going to get a lot of heat from this. The players also believed that they were going to the Super Bowl. The players also believed that this was their year.
This is their decade.
Doc, big man, this wasn't even their decade, last decade. And they've been saying that since the last Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
I understand being confident, Like, I get it. Like, having confidence, especially in a game of football, is important, especially if you're a player. But sometimes you got to face reality. Sometimes you need that dose of reality and understand the condition and current status of your team. And these Cowboys in this 2020-2021 season was one of the worst defenses out there.
And we're gonna move on to the Giants, but I don't even know what the Cowboys should do. I didn't think they made the right head coaching hire personally, but
they upgraded from Clapper to, well, you know, I mean, I coached Aaron Rodgers to a Super Bowl at one time.
Right. Living in the past. He actually fits living in the past. It's a perfect, maybe he was the perfect hire. But the Giants,
Jerry Jones sitting there needs to be like, what makes you think you should be our next head coach? I'm the one who gave Aaron Rodgers a ring, you know.
That's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. But Joe Judge took the New York Football Giants to a 6-10 season. A lot of close games.
Yeah, there's a lot of
a lot of close games. Daniel Jones, some games he looked great. Some games he regressed a little bit.
Really bad. I still think they still need to fix up that offensive line a lot more as well too.
And I feel bad because Andrew Thomas, I mean, you know, the book clubbers, that one stream of text that we were going through. And I mean, Andrew Thomas was one of the worst tackles in the league compared to, you know, other tackles that came out of the draft class. But that's neither here nor there.
Hilarious.
But the Giants, that offensive line does need to get better. I think they need to get a solid running back, you know, because I don't know if Barkley's going to be back and ready. And then they'll also need a receiver. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants go out and try to get a big name receiver like, you know, a Juju. If you can pry, you know, Chris Godwin away from the Bucks. I mean, in New York,
I could see
be that. Great. Yeah, it could be great.
They do have the cap for him.
Yeah, so if you can pull that away, or if you can pull, you need to pull some people and give the New York market, or at least half the New York market, something to root for. Because Barkley cannot do it on his own, and he's gonna need a lot of help. But that's the G-men, and with the Washington football team, Ron had them playing, man. I don't know. I feel like with T. Henney, anything is possible. Maybe he can turn him into, you know, the next Kirk Cousins. I don't know. I mean, Kirk is serviceable. He's not great.
I mean, their defense is really, 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 really good.
Coming along really nicely. Yeah, they're coming along really nicely. I think the offense just needs to be a little more consistent. I hope they don't I hope they don't fall into that. I hope they don't fall into that Cam sweepstakes, because I think that'll regress them.
I think they're definitely that Cam sweepstakes.
I hope they're not. I mean, if you're going to be in that sweepstakes, you might as well go for Dak, or you might as well go for Deshaun. You know, heck, even go for Taysom Hill. You know what I'm saying? But don't go just.
Well, Taysom Hill isn't a free agent.
Trade for Taysom. You know, I mean, listen, the guy's. He's amazing. He can throw it. Clearly, we saw that he can throw it. But if you're going to do anything, don't just say, hey, I'm going for Cam. I want the righty. Give me somebody different, you know. But that's the NFC East. Let's take a look at the NFC West, which we talked about the 49ers, one of the most injury-plagued teams of the COVID year.
They're going to bounce back as soon as everyone's healthy. Like, they'll be right back in that NFC Championship conversation. I'm not too concerned about that.
Only reason I would say that they might not be is because they just lost their defensive coordinator, Salah, to the New York Jets. And I think he brought a lot of energy to the 49ers. So I'm interested to see how their defense is going to be ran. Because he was really, really good. I'm really excited for the Jets to get him as a coach. I think they are going to turn it around because his energy is really, really nice, and I like what he brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
the 49ers, and I'm going to say the same thing with the Cardinals. Um, it's going to come down to quarterback play. I mean, Kyler Murray at some points of the season looks like an MVP candidate. Somebody that can really lead my team to a fantasy championship. Other other weeks looks like he's going to lead my fantasy championship to a loss. Looks like I'm buns again. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? But that's neither here nor there. But it's going to really come down to him and how he can really get things together.
Yeah.
Obviously, now that they have, you know, um, a great wide receiver, pretty solid backs, because they made some trades this year and last year to set their offense up really, really nicely. Their offensive line is pretty solid. Defense has always been pretty solid. It's just gonna come down to that quarterback, man. Like
I agree.
this whole division is about the quarterback.
Yeah.
And obviously we're gonna talk about the Rams and their trade for Matthew. Oh my God, I can't get hurt against Stafford.
Which
But
I think you were talking about resurgence.
he could have one.
I think this has the potential of becoming a resurgence in the career of Matthew Stafford.
If they keep both receivers, if they keep everything intact, and he can play up to the level that we know that he can, the Rams will be really, really hard to beat.
Agreed.
Because he doesn't turn the ball over that much, and I'm kind of really happy he got out of Detroit. You want to see somebody get another chance, and I've been saying that for years. I mean, last 3 years I've been saying that they needed to go ahead and part ways with Bradford and Bradford. Part ways with Stafford.
Sam Bradford, sir.
Yeah, they're one and the same to me, honestly. But they really needed to part ways with him and get a start over. I mean, once Calvin left, which we'll talk about Calvin later, but once Calvin left, I felt like that should have been almost the end of Matthew Stafford at that point. And lastly, the Seahawks, 12-4. I feel like they just ran out of steam.
They absolutely ran out of steam. I mean, I don't know. Like they're kind of like the Rams. Like you don't know which Seahawks team you're gonna get. One
No
week,
idea.
They're absolutely just lighting up the scoreboard, and their defense is holding it down. The next week, their offense can't score a lick. Russell Wilson,
that's right.
Is out there running for his life.
Yeah, he really is.
He can't really connect with the receivers. Like the fact that DK Metcalf, who had a phenomenal
he definitely came. He came with the heat this year.
The fact that he hasn't been, he's going to get paid.
Yeah.
The fact that they really don't have a whole lot outside of just him. I mean, maybe you could put in Tyler Lockett, who's been really, really solid as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else. I mean, they've always had issues on the running back position because they've always getting injured.
They really are.
Their offensive line isn't as good as we think that they are.
Which the draft is right around the corner.
I mean, I don't know. I think the NFC West will always be up for grabs. I will say that.
Well, we'll definitely see. And now teams are calling about, Russell and his availability. And I'm like, the Seahawks would be crazy to pull the trigger. Come on. He's a lifer. I mean, unless he wants out, which is highly doubtful. I mean, if you're the Seahawks,
this is another ambulance chasing story that people are going for right now. I don't think this has as much steam as it seems.
So the only thing I would say, and call me crazy, of course, but only way I would make that deal is if it's Russell for Deshaun Watson and a couple of picks. And the only reason I say that is because Russell is getting older, obviously. And if you can flip him at this point, even though he's still playing at a great, He's still playing at a great height in his career. I mean, if you could flip him.
Oh, no. And this is going to make this one fan base absolutely pleased by saying this.
Oh, no. Don't you dare say this.
They could actually get him in a trade.
Them boys?
Them boys. Yikes.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
I just thought of all the scenarios in my head. I'm like, they could technically pull it off. The problem is they're still the Cowboys, and they would be giving up a lot.
They would have to give up Zeke.
Yes, which is one of the things that I feel like a lot of those boys, fans, would actually be accepting of.
Yeah, I mean, because I think their backup was really, really good last year. He actually ran the ball. Yeah, he ran the ball better, I think, than Zeke ran. So I wouldn't.
It's more because of teams game planning around Zeke than it is around him, though.
But that's the thing. Like, it's like if teams were game planning to stop the run, the Cowboys' run in particular, it's like then the backup wouldn't have had so much success. So I don't know what was going on with Zeke, but I don't see, like I said, Russell, maybe for Deshaun or somebody younger, maybe. But outside of that, I don't see it happening.
That's actually although Russell to the Dolphins wouldn't be terrible too. But let's get to the NFC North.
The NFC North.
I mean, we talked about the Stafford trade.
We did, which I don't know what else they need. I mean, obviously they changed coaches, but
I feel like the change of coach is going to help them out. I could see them probably making some type of noise. I don't know if they'll be playoff bound in 2 seasons, but I think they'll have a better record than 5-11.
I don't think so. I think they'll
at least be like 7. I'm not going to say they're going to be over 500, but like they'll be making progress.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're not saying that they're going to take a huge leap. No. You're just saying they're gonna jump from a drop of water to a slight puddle.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. So I don't know what's going on with the Minnesota Vikings. All I know is they have a really, really good wide receiver.
I literally keep saying it. They need to fire the coach.
You think Zimmer's the reason? Zimmer's the guy?
I think he's one of the reasons, yes.
Yikes. I don't know. I feel like maybe Kirk Cousins is another issue. He's okay. He's serviceable.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as that. I still feel like the Stephon Diggs trade definitely did them as well, too.
So doo-doo.
Because it's like you said, Doc, Adam Thielen's good.
Yeah, but not
he's
number
better
one good.
With Stephon Diggs there.
and that's going to be the issue because with the Vikings the way it's set up now, you have to keep Thielen because that's why Jefferson's so good.
Yep.
It's like that's the difference. That's what separates a number one receiver from a number two. That's why I had so much issue with somebody like Juju or I'm trying to think of who else they had. Steelers had so many receivers prior to this, but it's like those receivers that when you take away that number one option, like Mike Wallace, oh yeah, those guys, like you try to make them number ones, and like Rashad Perriman. I mean, the Jets took him from the Bucks. He got hurt, obviously, but he's not a number one receiver. Nope. Like listen. Jameis was throwing the ball deep, and Perriman just happened to be there. Okay.
Scumbag.
So the Jets said, hey, this guy's a home run threat. No, he was a home run threat for those 3 weeks that everybody else was out, So I'm not sure. The Vikings need to get it together. I haven't watched enough of their games to really know what's going on, but between the Vikings and Bears, the Bears have the defense that should be able to carry them places. They're a team that really needs to figure out what their offense is.
I 100% agree with you. I know people want to be quick to say it's the QB and only the QB.
It's not.
But it's
what is their
whole offense. They don't have an identity.
because they were a Cody Parkey field goal
I had a
away.
feeling you just wanted to say his name. I get it.
I did, but they were so close. I mean, they were right there,
Yeah.
and I just blew it. But I don't know. I think that it's definitely more than just a quarterback. And then, of course, we have the Green Bay Packers, which those cheeseheads were so mad at me.
They were like, if you wanted to see a fan base be salty, this was a fan base that was salty. And I told you about the Tom Grassi stream. He was, I mean, Doc, we're not cocky.
We're not.
But Mr. Grassi was so cocky. So cocky. And all these animals were so cocky that I literally 2 days before a game, I'm like, Doc, I feel like I made a mistake with my pick.
Yo, it's so crazy because you know me, I wasn't trying to do anything, but once that game ended, Johnny, I mean, you already know where I was at. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, it was nothing but melted cheese after that. I wasn't trying to hear anything. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I put melted cheese on the screen to put Johnny on tilt.
I'm not on tilt. Yeah, you're just scumbag for doing that.
Look at me, just twirling in the cheese.
Wow, he's over here dealing the stinky cheese. But the Aaron Rodgers situation, I feel like that takes precedent over everything that's happening within this team.
Yeah.
They're a great team. I don't see a problem with them. They just need to find out whether or not they want to keep Aaron Rodgers or not. Because honestly, they was the most complete team in the division.
I mean, let's be honest, though. Does Aaron Rodgers really need this team to draft anybody for him to compete? He's never needed it. So why would you waste draft capital on something that you know you're not going to need, where, hey, we know Aaron Rodgers is getting old. We're going to need a quarterback. Jordan Love just so happens to be the quarterback that we want. Yes. Which maybe you think about it, this year, the year after next, like, is there another quarterback that we want, that this coach wants? When Aaron Rodgers says, hey, I'm either going to hang it up or I want to go play somewhere different, like, what are we going to do? Insert Jordan Love.
Yeah, I still feel like that was just media baiting as well, too. But yeah, I don't think there's a huge issue with the Packers. I just think they need to figure out what they want to do going forward with their QB. But fine, Alama.
So the Falcons, the NFC South. So the Falcons, they got rid of their coaching staff. They couldn't finish the games. I mean, it's very clear. They said they're bringing Julio back. They said they're bringing Matty Ice back. So we'll see what they do in the draft. I don't know what their issue is, honestly.
I'll put them 3 to 5 years.
The Panthers, their issue was just that Christian McCaffrey got hurt.
Yes, and even though he got hurt, they still fought, and they were really in a lot of these games.
I really hate that there's all this talk about them trying to get Deshaun Watson and getting rid of Teddy Bridgewater like it was his fault.
I feel like it's too soon to do that. I feel like Teddy Bridgewater had a great season despite everything else that was happening.
Right, but if Teddy Bridgewater goes to Houston and they build around him, it could be something special.
Exactly.
So I'm going to skip the Super Bowl chance to lead them for last and go to the Saints because the Saints
and I'm going to say something, folks, and this is probably going to put an explicit on this episode, but they're in cap hell, Doc.
Well, I know that they're moving some pieces around. You got to see what Drew's going to do. They might move on from Lattimore, which is, even though he's their best player, their best corner, they might move on from him because he just makes too much money potentially for them at this particular time. But it could be time for them to move on from Michael Thomas.
It could be.
I mean, they don't really throw the ball and as much as they used to, I guess, especially if they're moving on to Taysom Hill. Yeah, that's another thing. They got to decide whether they're moving on to Jameis or moving on to Taysom Hill.
I still think they're
But
going to move on to Jameis, and this is going to turn into that high-scoring Saints offense that we had a few years ago.
Well, I'm not sure because Jameis apparently is listening to a lot of suitors because he's high on free agency now and he wants to get paid. So I'm sure he's going to use this towards his benefit, I guess. Hopefully he doesn't burn himself, put him on the burn notice. But lastly, your reigning Super Bowl champion.
No. You got to say it the right way.
We only got 4 or 5 minutes, though. That's why I was trying to.
Your reigning, defending, undisputed National Football League Super Bowl champions of the world, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. Buccaneers. You forgot that part. The boys are still buns, in my opinion. So this team played like buns all year. I hated it. I told somebody yesterday I hated the journey. Like I'm glad we won, but I hated the journey. Like, oh my God, it was so stressful. Because we really looked like a bad team. This team could bring the band back together. Obviously, we know that. Shaq Barrett wants to quote unquote break the bank. And Dominican Sue actually said he wants to come back. So I guess that's that. Obviously, JJ's out there. Who do we let walk? Who do we bring back?
I already told you who you need to let walk.
It just depends. I mean, it depends how everything goes, man. Honestly, because if money moves around and they can get together and have a kumbaya moment, then the whole band will be back, and I'll bring JJ in or one of these other guys.
This is a great opportunity for Tyler Johnson to make that next step up.
I agree. And I think Scotty's also somebody that needs to get that push. Obviously, you have Antonio Brown, who may wind up staying. Who knows?
Coming back for 1 year. We talked about the amount of incentive that he can have so he can get him on the cheap.
Exactly. The offensive line looks good. I don't know. This team has a chance to run it back.
Shout out to your GM for getting Tristan Wirfs, by the way.
Jason Light said we wanted to trade up even more to get Tristan Wirfs. So he was actually ready to trade up, even though we didn't have to. He was like so ready to trade up to get Tristan Wirfs, who I think is 799 snaps, 1 sack, boyo. Oh my God. And before we wrap up this segment, I was so excited because for the longest time I have been saying this. Why don't the Bucs ever get one of those Iowa or Wisconsin or Oklahoma? Like I want one of those. Yeah, like I want one of them guys. No, we get, Penn State, like, don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. Donovan Smith made great leaps and bounds, and he earned his $10 million this year. This year he earned his $10 million, but the latest mock draft had us taking a tackle. So I'm curious to see what they do in the mock drafts and the draft itself in April. But that's your champions, man. Run it back.
Yeah.
Hopefully the journey's better. Hopefully the journey is better. Like that's one thing I can hope that the journey's better.
Doc, you heard me say it before. I got a T-shirt even stating this. Doc ain't happy with that, Bucks. Run it back. He ain't happy
run
with
it
that.
back. Tom can do it. I think Tom can do it too.
They said 1 is sweet, but 2 is even better.
We loved it so much, we did it twice.
I saw what you did there.
But before we go, this season was so good with football, and hopefully next season is better. Tom had a little procedure done to clean up some stuff in his knee, and but he's back to work. And hopefully with the Bucs, that means they're all back to work. So
I think so too. I think we're going to get better than what you got during the season, in my opinion.
Perfect, because they're going to have an off season.
Exactly.
But speaking of off season, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with some more debate amongst friends right after. At the end of the season, the NFL honors those who had exceptional performance and gave us all of their hard-earned sweat, blood and tears and hopefully help their teams win. Some controversy, of
Of
course, right? I
course.
mean, some controversy, including the Pepsi Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, of course. Justin Herbert won it. I think they need to expand this award, is as I mentioned on the previous segment, a rookie offensive tackle by the name of Tristan Wirfs, 799 snaps, one sack, really played really well. I think it's time for them to go ahead and adjust that.
I will say this. I would have been totally happy if Tristan Wirfs would have won the Offensive Rookie of the Year
Or they
from
need to
AP.
make a, you know, an offensive line award because they really deserve it.
They do.
Like I think it's time. Like it's time. NFL, it's
We
time.
we
And you heard it here
we
first.
have it in college. Why not have it in pros?
Exactly. Yeah, you can pick any offensive lineman. Uh, any offensive lineman from the past. Just pick them and throw their name on the award and call it a day.
I
Come
can
on.
agree with that.
Even in Madden, there's a offensive line of the year award. Like, come on. But Justin Herbert wins it. Obviously, you know, you did. Obviously, there were some injuries. There were some injuries that kind of helped. But he
Yes.
really, really played great football and led the Chargers to, you know, the best season that they could have had this particular year. So shout out to Justin Herbert, who, again, could have benefited from the gift and curse of Tyrod.
Yes.
So the AP Defensive Player of the Year also came with some controversy
This one has the biggest controversy.
as the Rams defensive lineman Aaron Donald, who's a great worker, great player, great athlete, high work ethic. He wins. Um, Obviously, before his release, J.J. Watt had some things to say about how he felt his brother should have won, if anyone. Um, and I would have even gone to say that it could have been a whole host of people that could have won.
Absolutely. Here's what I'll say about this. I can understand the argument about TJ Watt, and I wouldn't be upset if TJ Watt won it. But I feel like this award went to the best defensive player on the best defense in the league. And the Rams, despite all the stuff that they've been dealing with, those ups and downs, they were at one of the best, if not top three, then at least top two defense in the league. So while I can understand why people have grievances towards him winning this award, I can't get upset about it.
So, and this is not even something that I would have even brought up, but a lot of even my dad called me. He was like, "I'm surprised they didn't at least consider what Devin White did."
Yep.
To be close to Defensive Player of the Year. And you talk about a defense that was top five.
Yep.
Of course,
they
stopping the run.
number 5 all overall
because we couldn't stop the pass in some of those games. Yeah. But he had 9 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, and was third in the NFL for solo tackles. So, I mean, even he could have been up there. But a lot of the attention was drawn to TJ Watt because of his sacks. But I mean, that's a tough one.
It's here or there.
And this could be one of those things where when you think of a defensive player defensive player of the year award, you think of the NBA, where they give the MVP to the player who the team relies on. And we've talked about that the last couple of years. You had, James Harden, you had LeBron, you had these guys that these teams have relied on. And really, it almost comes down to the team that scores the player that scores the most points.
Agreed.
So in this point, it's the guy who causes the most double teams, I guess. It's the only thing I can come up with. But Aaron Donald wins it. He's one of my favorite players as a defensive lineman, outside of my own guys. But,
of course.
I mean, it's not that he doesn't deserve it. It's just other players could have equally deserved it, and I would like to see what the actual numbers are.
And I will also throw in another name too, Xavier Howard from Miami.
Xavier, exactly. He was another one that really had a great year. And again, shout out to Brian Flores putting them guys out there and being a sole New England coach that actually succeeds, or is actually succeeding. But yeah, I mean, that's just one of those guys that.
And the only votes that I see are just for Aaron, TJ, and Xavier. Those are the only votes that I see.
And that's crazy.
They don't show as much voting like the NBA to allow us to psychoanalyze it.
And that would be nice, but that's okay. Honestly, AP Offensive Player of the Year, we kind of
knew.
That's kind of I mean, Derrick Henry is running all over the place. Remember the time he stiff-armed that guy and threw him out of bounds?
I mean, I didn't even know he got thrown out of bounds. I mean, I still think he's circling around the earth right now still, unfortunately. Poor Josh Norman.
Right, exactly.
But yes, Derrick Henry, this was his year to win that award. I mean, definitely could have made the argument about him being the MVP, but the MVP award is, of course, always going to be a quarterback award. So it is what it is.
I understand. I mean, but he did get kind of handled.
He got handled a few games. I do love the fact that they don't talk about what he did in the playoffs.
Right.
In regards to this award. So I'm happy about that. They just kept it based on what he did in the regular season.
Without question.
That's an issue within the NBA, but we're not going to go there.
Defensive
Rookie of the Year. I mean,
I felt like this was more of a popularity contest. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chase is great, but I think he was out a couple of games, and
he was.
I felt Jeremy Chin for the Panthers really, really played really well. Obviously, Antoine Winfield Jr. There was a few guys who really, really could have did it. Patrick Queen from the Ravens.
Yep.
You know, I felt like they were equal. They had equal opportunity to win it. Antoine Winfield Jr.'s impact, obviously, I can see because I watch Buck games, but Jeremy Chin was really, really good.
Really, it was a popularity contest. Come on, let's
Chase. Yeah, Chase was okay, but if we're looking at impact, I mean, those two guys really, really played very well. Obviously, Antoine Winfield, as you can see behind me, throwing up the peace sign, Johnny, right there, the play of the game. But 7.5 sacks. I don't know.
Let's talk about the AP Comeback Player of the Year.
That was a given too.
Thank you.
I mean, it could have been. Let's see, who could it have been? Weren't we talking about somebody in the middle of the year? I can't even remember. I mean, obviously, Alex coming back from that gruesome injury.
There's no one else who could have been considered for this award. Like, it has to be Alex Smith. Like, the fact that his career could have ended.
Yeah, and the fact that he still wants to play. Oh, that's what it was. It was Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes.
I guess was the other person. You had some people, which they could have easily done it. I mean, you had Ben Roethlisberger, obviously had Gronk, J.J. Watt came back, Matthew Stafford, but nobody had the impact as Alex Smith.
Exactly.
Come on, guys. They gave that to him the minute he stepped on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, instantly.
Yeah, like it was. We even said it on the show, like he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. Like there is no way around it. As soon as he put a pinky toe,
that pinky toe,
or the turf toe onto the field, he won that award
without question.
Speaking of another award, the AP Coach of the Year, scumbag. The AP Coach of the Year, the Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski.
He deserves it for having to deal with Odell Beckham Jr.
Any other coaches would you consider for this award? Because we kept talking back and forth about a few. Brian Flores was another one that we talked. Yeah, could definitely get it.
Obviously, Andy Reid.
Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians, yeah, and the Packers head coach, which I could never remember his name for some reason. Yeah, LaFleur. Yeah, I think those are guys that should have been in the running. I would like to know why they gave it to Stefanski. Maybe because the Browns made a leap.
Yeah, they made a huge leap this year versus last year.
But so did the Bucks, and so definitely the Dolphins.
The Dolphins did. The Bears did as well.
So yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, I can't say that he doesn't deserve it.
No, I can't get mad at that at all.
So. But the most valuable player, again, you kept saying it all year. He was angry.
Why are you so mad? Why
you so mad? He was angry, like, hey, you want to draft a quarterback in the first round? Oh, okay. Let me show you why you shouldn't have drafted a quarterback in the first round. Oh yeah.
He pulled a Jay Lethal where he said, "You want to see it?
I want to see it.
Discount double check. Wham! I'm MVP."
And it'll be another year of them not drafting any skill players. Yeah. They're going to draft offensive linemen, or they're going to draft defense because he doesn't need them. Like, he does not need them to go out and draft a receiver high or a running back. They have too many running backs because they obviously didn't run Aaron Jones when I needed them to. So they must have ample amount of running backs that they can use, if you know what I mean. And then the receivers that they do have are getting depth threats. So why would anybody want to get drafted there?
I'm so sorry, MBS.
Come on. It's like, why would you want to get drafted to a place where if you drop a pass, they're threatening your mom? Like, it's ridiculous.
I feel like those are the casuals. Either that or those are those that are betting on the game and like high stakes. And I didn't even mention this real quick before we get to the last award, but shout outs to Pat McAfee for losing $30,000 on the coin toss for the Super Bowl.
He bet on a coin toss?
You could bet on everything. You could bet on everything.
Yeah, that's insane.
$30K on
a tails, on a freaking tails call. Oh my god. Bet responsibly, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we can really say. I mean, that's it,
folks. If you feel like you got a problem, or people see you have a problem, like, listen to them. Don't be mental.
Yeah, call that number on the back of the lottery ticket.
Just saying.
Because you got one.
Find out them all. The
Russell
Walter Payton
Wilson
NFL
Russell
Man of the Year award. Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell
Wilson, who was there with Sierra at the Super Bowl watching as the Bucks did something spectacular. Maybe Russell's like, hey, I'm going to wait till Tom Brady leaves. I'm going to Tampa when this is over.
You've been saying that too. You have been saying that.
I don't think Russell's going anywhere. He's going to die. He's going to be right there in Seattle.
Like you were crazy. So, I would tell you if you're bugging. I would.
Right. And like I told somebody earlier, I really feel like if there's a free agent that's out there, I'm always going to say they should come to Tampa or they should come to Houston. I mean, that's just the way I feel. I would have never expected to get half the people that we got unless I say it. Sometimes you just got to say it.
You won't get it if you don't speak to existence.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, since people are playing good in New York, all of a sudden it's like, hey, why don't Julius Randle just come to Houston? You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna finish off this segment when talking about the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2021 because Doc's being a scumbag again.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but offensive lineman getting some love. Alan Faneca, who's a really, really good offensive lineman. I know he had some really, really good years, and that's the kind of person that you could just name a freaking award after, like offensive line award. It's so easy. The Alan Faneca Award. Oh my goodness, how easy is that? Like how easy is
much harder
that?
if you really think about it, because I feel like people don't really care too much about the linemen on the
really,
offensive
really
side.
Sad. That's really, really sad. But Alan Faneca played really, really good. He played for the Steelers, the Jets, and the Cardinals. Most notable, the Steelers. But really, really played good football, and I'm glad he's in there. I always like to see the big guys make it.
Yeah, named to the All-Decade Team of the 2000s as well too. Like, so it's not like he's just some random person who made it. All AFC 7 consecutive seasons. Like, he has the accolades, and I'm happy for him.
No, definitely. Tom Flores made it as a coach. It says here.
Yes.
Because he was also a player. I mean, a lot of people probably don't know that, but he was also a player. But he made it in as a coach, which is awesome. He coached the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't like that. It says Las Vegas Raiders.
It was still Oakland.
It should say Oakland. That's so sad. But he also coached the Seahawks in the early 90s. So definitely congrats to him.
Oh no, wait, it is Los Angeles, because this was before they went to Oakland. This was back.
I thought it said Las Vegas.
I hope not, because that'd be horrible, actually. Unless they just put that based off the current.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking that they did.
Okay. Please proceed.
And I hate that. I'll double check just to make sure. Yeah, it says Las Vegas, and that's Bush League. That's Bush League, guys. The aforementioned Calvin Johnson, who retired early because he played for Detroit and he just didn't want to do it anymore. I mean,
yeah, now people are trying to downplay his accomplishments,
which they shouldn't, because he really, really, changed the game. I mean, they had to make a whole rule.
Yep.
Based on his non-catch, which that was one of the greatest non-catches I've ever seen. I know that we like to talk about what happened with Dez, but Calvin Johnson's catch that he did. Oh no, they talk about that. Nah, they talk about that catch to this day. That was a catch.
I usually have my headphones on when I'm walking around, so I don't hear anything about that.
Now that you say that, the one time you don't have your headphones on, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you.
Walk away whistling.
But Calvin Johnson is one of the greatest receivers to ever do it. He changed the game. He's probably one times you get a 6'5" receiver who can run, jump. I mean, he was a game changer. Absolutely. He really was the second coming of Randy Moss. Like, he was the closest that you can get. And he really, really played well. It stinks that he played in Detroit. I think had he not played in Detroit all those years, he probably would have played a couple more years.
Absolutely.
But it's tough. Next,
for a first ballot Hall of Famer as well too. Which
is really exciting.
Yes.
And next,
one of three for this class, correct?
Yes, because I know John Lynch was up before.
Yes. We'll get to the other two. But yes, John Lynch, safety.
Yes, not the GM. Yeah, he's going in as a safety.
Yes. We got to make sure we say
Yeah. No, but he was a great safety for the Bucs for many years. Obviously, later on, he went to Denver. But, I mean, John was a hard-hitting safety. The kind of guy that, obviously, you can't play like that now. But he was really, really good. And this was well-deserved. And it was always kind of questioned whether he or Rondé would get in first. And it looks like John's got
Rondé's not far behind. He's not far behind.
I don't think so either. Because he had a really, really good career. And, I mean, obviously, quarterback, Peyton Manning.
First ballot Hall of Famer, the Sheriff. I mean,
yeah,
what?
he's really
5-time
good.
MVP. I mean, all-decade team in the 2000s. 3-time All-Pro. I mean,
he was really good.
I feel like a lot of the casual fans only remember him for the Omaha. I mean, we remember him, finally of the damn it, Donald.
That's what I was about to say.
The impact he had on the game cannot be quantified at all. The impact he had, the fact that I would enjoy watching Colts games. And,
definitely.
And I've never seen this until I watched Peyton Manning play out there in Indianapolis, where when he's on the field, the entire stadium is quiet.
Because you want to hear him call. You want to, it was so crazy.
Not even just for the call, but just out of respect.
Because he's making so many audibles and he's moving people around. And even in Madden at the time, it was annoying. It was like, oh my God, is this guy really going to do this in the game and dissect what I'm doing? He was super smart, film junkie, obviously. And it was just a lot going on.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anyone absolutely deserving on this class, Peyton Manning, hands down. Come on.
Of course. So we have Scout Bill Nunn, not to be confused with the actor, because there is an actor who played in Do the Right Thing and a couple
and
other.
Also, not to be confused with Ronnie Nunn.
Exactly.
NBA fame as well.
Exactly. William Goldwyn Nunn Jr., sports writer, and of course, well, I have to because I guess there's several nuns out there. He was a scout for the Steelers, and he made it. I don't know if this is a first. I don't that part. I don't know.
First.
Okay, but definitely congratulations to him. Wide receiver Drew Pearson. He gets the nod, gets the gold jacket.
Yep, Jersey boy too from South River,
South Jersey. Pretty solid receiver. You hear. I know them boys. Gonna talk about their own. He wore number 88, so it kind of gives you that, that historic number.
Yeah.
But another solid choice for the Hall of Fame. And then one of my favorite corners, Charles Woodson.
And this is the last first ballot.
Yeah, he was really, really good. Really good Michigan Wolverine. Did the Heisman pose. He was a really good defensive back. Him and a couple of those guys back then, you just knew when you saw that 2-4 on the jersey, you just knew you were in for a long day. So I give Charles Woodson a lot of credit. But yeah, these guys are well deserved members
Charles
of the 2021.
Is only one of two players to win a Heisman, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and a Super Bowl. Do you know who the other person is?
Ray Lewis?
Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen was the beast.
Great company.
Yeah. I will say this is a really, really good class.
Strong class.
I feel like it's smaller than normal. I feel like there's usually one or two more people, but I'll allow it.
Yes. And speaking real quickly, here are some of the other finalists who did not make it. One of them I actually am surprised, but we'll see. Jared Allen, Rondé Barber. This was actually his first year of eligibility. Tony Boselli.
Ooh, Tony Boselli. Oh, my goodness. Leroy Butler.
Torrey Holt.
Yikes.
Clay Matthews.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that one.
Sam Mills. Richard Seymour. Zach Thomas.
I like Zach.
And Reggie Wayne.
That's so crazy to hear some of these names. I feel like just yesterday they were playing. Still early for some of them guys. I think next year I could see Rondé, Jared Allen, and probably close to the first 3 or 4 people that you mentioned.
Yep.
I don't know about some of them other guys. Clay Matthews, I think he just retired or he just stopped playing. So I'm not sure about that one. Torrey Holt, I can see him getting in there.
This was his 7th year of eligibility for Torrey.
Oh my God. I wonder what's taking him so long. I mean,
I don't know.
I know he didn't make his impact was big. It definitely wasn't Megatron big, but he was a really, really good receiver.
Absolutely, part of the greatest show on turf.
I think Rondé, I can understand them choosing Charles Woodson over Rondé. I can understand that. Charles is really good. Rondé's good, but Wood was good. I can't
Absolutely.
lie. I don't mean Christian. I mean Charles.
But folks, with that note, this is the end of season 5.
Season 5.
Friends.
And
Doc Leisner and I want to extend our love and appreciation to you all for the support, for the communications to help us get better. Huge shout outs to the people who joined our Facebook page and got engaged in a lot of the conversation, as well as our Instagram account as well too. We could only get better with the support that you provide for us. Season 6, we will be doing a new format. We will be going to daily. So if you enjoy what we're hearing once a week, well, we're going to times that by 5. Monday through Friday, Debate Amongst Friends will be available for you to listen to. I mean, Doc, you have anything to say?
As usual, definitely thank you to our listeners from France. We always got to shout out Oregon. You know, the board man gets paid. Exactly. Of course, our listeners out in California, in New Jersey, in New York, in North Carolina, you know, that could be potentially me. But across the world, I mean, we appreciate it. Texas, obviously, Virginia, Ohio, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Florida, Colorado, Kentucky, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Delaware, Utah, and Missouri, and all the countries around the world.
Yes. Eventually, one day, we will finally have a listen on another planet.
I wonder how that would be too. That would be so awesome.
Just like Cameron Grimes, we're going to take this podcast to the moon.
And guess what, guys? In case we don't see you.
Good afternoon. Good
evening. And good night.
And we're going to close it with our famous catchphrase. Doc, say it with me. And those out there that know it, say it with me as well. Goodbye. Mwah.
And to all, a good night.